Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 75 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, and welcome back to episode 75 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you're new here, hey, welcome. You're right on time. This is my 75th episode. I'm so excited that you're here with me. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm so glad you came back for our 75th episode. Can you tell that I'm excited about this being 75? But enough of that. We'll talk about that in a moment. I'm just so glad that you're here. You're still rocking with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your support means everything to me. Before we kind of dive into this week's episode and I explain my excitement about 75, I like to make sure that I start with housekeeping. I mean, that's so important. We want to make sure that we're setting the intention so that you know why you're here. We're building a house, as what I always like to say. We're building a foundation, and our foundation is rooted in clarity and love. So for clarity, I want to make sure you understand the Well Done Life podcast is about us being a safe space for women. This is a safe space that I created because personally, I believe that women are the foundation of our society, and that a lot of times we are so focused on taking care of other people that we're not taking care of ourselves. And we're not learning and growing. We're not talking to each other. We're not sharing our experiences, because I personally believe that there are no experts at this thing called life. I think we all can kind of agree at this point. Nobody knows it all. And I think we all need to talk a little more, share some of our experiences so that we can possibly help someone not make the mistakes that we've made, or that we can help somebody feel supported who may be going through some things. Because I think collectively we've probably all experienced a number of things that if we just sat down and talked about would help us realize that our differences are not as different as we think, and that there is so much strength in the power of women. So welcome to the Well Done Life. And I'm so glad that you're here on the journey with me. So we got clarity out of the way. I like to make sure now we kind of go into love, and love is always going to be the root of everything that we do here. And when I like to make sure that I started out with love, I like to make sure that I'm sending each of you prayers. My prayers for you this week are definitely of gentleness. Be gentle to yourself and to other people. I'm also wishing you prayers of health. I mean, it is very serious out here, Delta, and I'm not talking about the airline. It's definitely very strong in certain areas in my area here in Florida. So I want you to be taking very good care of yourself, being diligent, being smart, making sure that you're protecting yourselves. And also, I'm wishing you prayers of peace, and I'm wishing you prayers of prosperity, and I'm wishing you lots and lots of love, because I definitely think a lot of us need it. And kind of going back a little bit to the Delta variant and everything going on with the pandemic, but I like to call it panini, panorama. I feel like at this point it's just any P word, but it's definitely right now the panini for me tonight. I really want to make sure that I send prayers out to the frontline workers, the doctors and the nurses out there. They're on the front lines because the hospitals are getting fuller, and a lot of people, unfortunately, are being affected by this Delta variant of COVID. And we really have to just give them all praise and reference, because those people, those nurses, those doctors, those hospital workers, they're putting their life on the line to save someone's life every day. And it is just so grateful to them. I've had friends who have been impacted by COVID. I think we all have. So we really have to thank God that we had resources, that they had access to resources that they could survive. And for those people who have lost people to COVID, my prayers go out to you too, because loss is nothing to play with, especially in circumstances like this. So I'm definitely sending you prayers, and I hope that you're not triggered by the rise in cases again. The only thing that I can hope is that we all do what we need to do to protect each other, to protect ourselves. I'm not getting back on my soapbox again. Y'all know my stance about what I did for me. I'm just asking, at least be considerate of other people. When you're out here, I would love to be traveling again. I know some people are traveling and enjoying their lives and doing all the things that they were doing before this. I don't begrudge you that. But I definitely think that it's just important that we all try to be considerate of each other, because we're at this point now where it's not like we are not going to possibly impact each other. Each of us has a role to play, I think, in this. And it is, we have to be considerate of how we move around other people, because you just don't know what can happen. So just be careful, be cautious, have fun, enjoy your life, but just definitely try to be careful and be cautious. And if you're a parent and your children are getting ready to go back to school, I definitely send extra prayers to you, and extra prayers to your children as well, for health and a wonderful school year. I know it's a tough decision, lots of decisions being made there, and I would not even glean to understand what it is, because I do not have children myself, but I definitely know that, it's not easy, and you're just doing the best that you can for your children. And I think that that's enough. And I send you prayers, truly. So that's really, like I said, that's how we like to housekeep it out. I want to make sure I'm giving you clarity and love. I'm very excited about this week's episode. I'm sure you all heard my extra enunciation of 75. As I'm sitting here, it is Wednesday night, 10:48, and it is on August the 4th. I'm recording a little early this week because I have a very special guest that I'm very excited about sharing with you. And as I was sitting here getting ready to get everything kind of set up, I'm like, oh my goodness, it is my 75th episode. And so I am one of those signs, numbers, wonders, waist bead wearing kind of chicks. And 77 is my favorite number. So of course, anything associated with it, I definitely take very seriously. So I do have to look up what the intention of this number is. I will make sure I talk about the specialness of this number, but I want to thank you for being here with me to celebrate 75. I value every episode, and just being able to say that we've made it this far, that we are rocking together. I love you deep, and I appreciate you all celebrating this milestone with me. So I want to make sure I thank you again, and I document this moment as an accomplishment. I feel accomplished, and I'm very excited. So thank you. And we'll talk about that more probably in another episode. But this week, like I said, I'm very excited because I have connected with a wonderful person, and her name is Rebecca Jean Baptiste, and I cannot wait to bring her to you. And she is definitely going to be able to talk about her journey to an extraordinary life and how she can help make your life extraordinary. Before we kind of dive in and I bring Rebecca in, I definitely also want to make sure that if you haven't checked out, I do recommend last week's episode 74. I've got time today for you to check out and listen. I did get a little bit of feedback, and everybody's like, wow, you had time today. I've never heard anyone shadily or it was like a nice shade of how you can kind of get somebody together. And I want to say, I think it's important that, you know how to gather people. I think you have to. It's a part of being able to live a well-done life. You have to be honest when people violate your boundaries, and you have to be able to articulate your feelings. Again, as women, we are always so focused on trying to make people feel comfortable, but a lot of times they feel entirely too comfortable in certain situations, and they violate our boundaries, and we just smile and let it go versus correcting it immediately. But it is an art form, I think, and not saying that I've completely mastered it, because hey, I can go from 0 to 100 real quick, just like anyone else. But as I have learned and matured, thank goodness, on this intentional life journey, I have found the importance of being able to wield it without the 0 to 100. And maybe now I go from 0 to 20. So I definitely wanted to make sure I shared some of the things that I have learned on this journey and hopefully encourage and empower some of you to feel comfortable gathering people when they need to be gathered and put together in their place so that your boundaries can be respected and you can feel more comfortable moving through. Because like I said, that's an essential part of life. You have to be able to clearly articulate what your expectations are in order to be able to manifest that type of behavior. So I'll make sure I link episode 74 in the show notes for you, so that way you can check it out if you haven't. But like I said, I want to make sure that I give you plenty of time to connect with Rebecca. So I'm going to bring her in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, world. How's everyone doing? My name is Rebecca Jean Baptiste, and I am here in the Tampa Bay, Florida area. And I am so happy to be here with Pamela. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to this chat that we're about to have here.
Well, I'm really excited about having you here. We kind of connected, obviously, through the socials. How I think most of us are all connecting nowadays, which is kind of a trip, but I think our new normal. I know when we connected, and I did a little research because I always like to check out my guests before they come. I noticed that you have a business called Youare.extraordinary. So I would love to make sure we talk about that because just the name alone totally sold me. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself with that and how you kind of got started?
Yeah, so Youare.extraordinary. At first, it wasn't called that. It was called Extraordinary Life Coaching. And then I revamped it a couple of years ago just to edify the business name. Now, the way I came up with the name is pretty much like a testimony. Most people who start businesses, they start businesses because they have a skill or they've been through something and they want to help people through it. Now, the Youare.extraordinary was more towards me because I have gone through a lot of things in life, just like everyone else in this life journey. And my reason of calling it that is to help people build extraordinary lives with everything in productivity, task management, setting goals for yourself. Because I feel like a lot of people need to do these things and need to establish these things in their lives. And Youare.extraordinary is just a way to pretty much guide you through that you are extraordinary and you are created with amazing goodness. And that's how the name came about.
I love it. What made you decide that you wanted to become a life coach?
It started many years ago. My image probably doesn't show it because I don't age like some people do. But in my early 20s, I came across this show and I just loved everything about it. The whole idea of helping people through things that they were stuck in life and helping them overcome through it. Now, with that said, I looked into coaching and there was nothing really out there. This is like the early 2000s. Now coaching is everywhere. It's a little, it's very easy to find coaching everywhere you go. So, I decided to become a coach because I've noticed that there's a lot of people struggling with setting boundaries, setting aside time for themselves, just going through journeys. And I felt like God called me to do this, especially with the gift of exhortation. I knew that He wanted me to do this. It's been a rock hard journey for me, but with a lot of hips and a lot of challenges, I've gone through it, and I'm doing it right now. I'm helping people around the world with creating extraordinary lives with my expertise of life coaching.
I love it. And I agree with you. I think a lot of us, we all are. That's one of the tenets of the Well Done Life, being able to share our stories. I think our stories are what make us who we are as people. So you're right. We're all trying to figure out how to live our well done life or our extraordinary lives. And it sounds like because you don't age. You're right. You look very youthful. I know, your melanin is definitely shining I'm sorry, everybody, you can't see, but I can see. So yes, I totally understand because I'm one of those well-preserved ladies myself.
Thank you.
It sounds like you've been on the journey for a while. So with that, what is one thing that you learned on this journey that has kind of stuck with you as you have evolved and grown in your business?
Yeah, one thing I've learned is people are different. Just connecting with different people. You can have someone that's the same age as somebody else, but they're in a whole level. Their levels are not the same. So I had to learn to just pivot through certain personalities. And it's actually fun. It's actually really fun to see how people operate and how they conversate with you. And I've learned to actually be relaxed and I can talk to anybody. It's kind of weird to say, but I've even been told that before. You're just so easygoing and easy to talk to. So through this journey of coaching, I've learned to just keep myself comfortable with any conversation of a person, because not everyone's going to have the same beliefs as you, especially we're going through this thing called life journey. Everyone's going through their own hops and things like that. So I can say that's one thing I've learned through the journey is not everyone's the same for sure. And just learning to be patient. Let me tell you, there's some people really had to, let's just put it that way. Like I had to learn to be patient with some people. And as a business owner, I've even learned that sometimes you're not able to serve everyone. So I'm not able to serve everybody. So there's people where I had to build the rapport. I just told them, I'm sorry, but I don't think we would match up. So those are some of the things I had to learn.
Wow. And that's kind of tough because I'm sure as a coach, you, like you said, you want to try to help as many people as you can, but just understanding that everybody is not going to be able to be on that journey with you when you're not going to be able to be on their journey, that is very powerful. What do you do, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do to keep yourself feeling extraordinary?
I had to learn this. Okay. In my early 20s, I did not know how to keep myself extraordinary. But as I aged, I want to say it started like in my late 20s. I know I'm giving my age here. I just learned that every single day I need to find something that brings me joy. Just something that's going to bring some type of peace in my heart, some type of joy. I feel like we're just running around and going after the coin, right? And we just forget about ourselves. We don't set that good boundary. And that's one of the things that I teach. I teach about setting good boundaries. I feel like people are not setting good boundaries. But yeah, just finding some area throughout the day to bring some joy, bring some type of peace and clarity within me.
And that I think is very aspirational. I've talked about it too, because I kind of feel the same way. I think you have to find at least a pocket of something every day that brings you joy. So I like to dance in the morning or do other things. That's my joy time. But I also know, like you mentioned, it's hard when you're trying to navigate the world and balancing life. Like I'm not a mom, but I know you're a mom. So as a busy mom and entrepreneur and life coach, what do you do to hold yourself accountable for fitting it in? Because it's easy to let it go to me, because you get overwhelmed. How do you prioritize fitting it in?
Yeah. So I'm a wife. I'm a mother of 4. I own a business.
Okay. Oh yeah, you got to talk about that. You are all those things.
I'm all those things. Yeah. So I'm actually a new mom again. I just had a baby this year. Thank you. So How do I do it all? It's a long thing to chew, but let's try to summarize it. Every day that I wake up, I put time for me first. I have to put time for me first. When they say if mama's not happy, no one's happy, that's actually true. If there's not, I know some people think that, that's not true. It is true. I feel like when the woman in the household, the queen, or whatever you want to call her, if she is not stably sound within her mind, everybody else is chaotic. And I look at it this way: if I'm feeling sick, how am I supposed to care for you? You know what I mean? So that's how I do it when I start off my day. And now with having little ones, and then I have one that's actually going into middle school, my children are old enough to know that mommy needs some time. Obviously the baby does not know that, but that's when when they say it takes a village to raise a child, you have to go seek that village. I thank God my husband's very helpful. I know some women are not fortunate with that, but my husband is extremely helpful. So not just with him, but my village, if I need some help, if I need some time away from the baby, I do seek that time away. I need to do it. And if I don't do it, I'm actually being a disservice for myself, because if I'm being a disservice for myself, I'm not going to be able to serve my family in an extraordinary way. So, but yeah, that's how I do it. That's some of it. That's some of it. If I go into great detail, it's going to be like,
No, I was going to say that's pretty powerful. Just the fact that you allow yourself to do it, because I think for a lot of us, and I don't have children, but I have my mom and my sister, taking care of them and taking care of your children and taking care of everybody else, 9 times out of 10 is more of the priority than we are. And you're right. I've said it before. If mama's not happy, nobody in the house is happy. But I find that when I talk to people about it and they kind of dispute it, it's more so rooted in guilt. Why they dispute it. Like they feel like the world is going to end if mama's not there for 20, 30 minutes or a day. And like you said, you tap into your village. What made you learn? How did you learn that habit? How did you realize like, okay, I can't do this? Because 9 times out of 10, a lot of people don't realize that until they don't realize it. And you just keep trying to go and go and go until you hit the wall.
Right. I've realized it for my first child. And getting good mentors, people who've been married, who's been moms for a while, not know, oh yeah, I've been a mom for 2 years. I mean, like, you've been a mom for about 10 years. So my husband and I, we had really good mentors in the beginning of our marriage. I've even learned sleep deprived is for real. When you have that infant, it's so real. When you see the moms with these new babies looking like zombies, you better just tell them how they feeling. My first one, she woke up so much at night when she was first born. And we looked like zombies. And I realized that if I don't take a break, I'm not going to function. So when she was about maybe a toddler, that's when my husband and I realized that we need to take time alone for ourselves. Some people don't agree with us, but this is what we do. Every year, we take a vacation together. We take a family vacation. I mean, obviously 2020 did not exist in that aspect, but we also do vacations separately, like ourselves. Like if we go with a friend or if we go alone, it just keeps us sane. And we've learned that if we don't do that, it's not going to work to stabilize the household. And these dates are so important as well. Like I know people say, oh, we're not dating anymore, we're married. No, you still need to date your spouse. It's so important. I know it's like talking to this like relation or like talking relationship, but it's so important. That's just how we operate. And I've learned that from being a first time mom. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, I went in there and I knew it all. No, it was a learning. I'm still learning because every child has their own personality. So that's what we've done. That's helped us.
I like that because to me, that shows not that it is a relationship side, but that is part of living, to me, the well done life. It is love. Even for those of us that are single, like myself, or even in relationships, those may be new ways of thinking about how you can reinvigorate your relationship or how you go into setting a boundary with your new relationship. So I think it was a great discussion to have. And I admire the fact that you realized that you needed to lean into your village because, like I said, I think a lot of women, we struggle being honest with our partners and with other people when we need assistance. And a lot of times that's why you see so many people, unfortunately, hit the wall because we're not leaning into that village. I know myself, I have struggled with that. When my mom first came to live with me, I was very closed off and I could not express how I was struggling. And it really, I think, led to a lot of stress. So I admire that you're able to do that. And I guess, how do you encourage people to stand in their voice as a part of being extraordinary when they're working with you? How do you go about that?
Yeah, so I tell people stop suffering in silence. A lot of people are suffering in silence, like especially moms or even like women of color, like they just want to look like they can do it all and run it all. So I tell people we all need help in some aspect in our lives. We're not born knowing it all. We need help. I'm still learning about myself. I'm still getting training on certain things that I want to elevate within myself. So that's what I help people with when it comes to prioritizing and having good task management. It's so important. I feel like that is another thing too, like when it comes to just the time to put for yourself to realize that, okay, I'm not doing good here in this area. What do I need to do to be better? If you can't figure it out yourself, go get the help. Stop suffering in silence. You know what I mean? So, so that's where that comes in. And that's how I've engaged with people and helped them in that area.
And I think that's important because I think whether you're a mom or an entrepreneur, you still can suffer in silence because you're not utilizing your resources to be able to help you manage your time, or you're not working with someone like yourself who can maybe look at all of the things that they have on their plate and kind of help them prioritize it. So I admire that, again, like you can go back and kind of, weave that in together, because I think a lot of people, when they think of like a coach or a business coach or a life coach, you're only looking at it from one side. I like how you seem to approach it from maybe like a full holistic view. Like, I'm trying to help you get skills for your personal life and your professional life. So how has that kind of been altered with the panorama that we're in right now, or the pandemic, try to keep it light, but how has that kind of altered your approach to business and how you are working with people?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, it's been a cup of tea," and we've just been doing it. I think the most difficult aspect was when they shut down schools. Like my children always went away for school. We never homeschooled our children, so that was a struggle. Let me tell you. And the whole process of just trying to find a place to work while you have little people around. And I think God had me go into that season because there's something I'm actually working on right now with another group of women who are entrepreneurs, where we're going to actually help. It's kind of premature to share it right now, but we're going to help people that are going through it and trying to do it when it comes to family life and business life. So I did help a couple of families during the pandemic with that struggle. They woke up not knowing what Johnny's going to do and trying to figure out some type of calendar system. So I'm a strong believer in that. I feel like we always should block time for certain things throughout the day, not just going on our emails and having the day presented to us. So with that said, that's how I went through it. It was a struggle, but we caved in. Thank God for multiple devices and multiple rooms.
Yes.
Oh man. And we had just moved last year too. So that was another struggle as well. Got
Ooh.
pregnant last year. Oh my gosh. It was a
Oh,
mess.
you had it all going on last
I
year.
had it all going on. So when they started opening up things, I took my vacation. I was like, goodbye, y'all. So it was just a peace of mind that I needed. And my husband left too. He was like, I'm going to Universal Studios. Goodbye. Um, that's his outlet, theme parks. So, but yeah,
Okay.
so that's what we did. That's how we went through it.
Good.
But we survived.
Oh yeah, and I think we're all just pretty much trying to survive at this point. It's just like the up and downs of it all. But I have seen where a lot more people are looking for, I think, tools to help them manage their time. Because to your point, now you have a little person and you're trying to work at the exact same time. So it is kind of challenging trying to balance it all. And right now, the panini doesn't seem like it's going to be letting up for a little while. Even with the kids going back in school. So what's one thing that you would tell people right now that can kind of help them like change their mindset or their life around this time?
You have to plan. You can't just sit there. No, like real talk. Some people just wake up and we'll just figure out, like, Pocahontas, where the wind blows. No, we need to plan it out. We need to, yes, things will happen. Life happens, like we got a whole bunch of hiccups last year. Things happen, but you still have to have a plan. And get the family together, figure out something that's going to happen. If you're single, you still need to have a plan. I cannot stress that enough. Like, planning is not just for the family; it's for everybody. The word even says it. You need to have a plan, and not just that. Get the help, get the right help. And seek help. Like, don't sit there trying to bundle everything up, because it's just going to get worse. You're just going to blow up later, and people are going to try to figure out what's wrong with you. So definitely make a plan and get some help, and the right help that you need to overcome whatever it is that you're going to, or whatever you're facing.
Yeah, because, and I think that that's going to be really important. Because like I said, I feel like with the panini not kind of going away, I think we all kind of got into like the sense like, okay, it's calmed down. We're all going to go out here, have these hot girl, hot women, hot family summers and do all these great things, and then now it's kind of like, oops, we might have to figure out how to navigate change again. But at the same time, you're still trying to accomplish your goals. I mean, we're going into third quarter. We're almost, we are in third quarter now. August, September, October.
We are.
No. We're in third quarter. Third quarter of 2021, and we're all trying to get things going. So I think that it is important that if you haven't made a plan, you do start looking at how to make one. I guess, and hopefully everyone receives that for yourself. With that, what's one word that you would use to describe your mindset right now?
My mindset right now, one word, shift. Just shift.
Ooh.
Shift through it. And as you're shifting, you're pivoting too. I feel like last year was a huge shift. It was like Sonic the Hedgehog just passed through, and it's like, whoa, like what just happened? No, literally, like what just happened here? All of my vacations got canceled last year. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. So I feel like I'm sure last year taught us that first, the government can shut you down. Second, your income or this employer you are working for is not guaranteed. And you need to shift, and even people who still have their jobs, they probably lost something or they gained too much. Definitely shift through it all. Shift. Like there might be another wave, and get ready to shift over.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like I kind of feel the same way. You have to be prepared for anything right now, because you just don't know like 2020 and 2021 is really showing us, you have no clue how it's going to be. So I love that. How with all the shifting and everything like that, is there anything that you're doing special right now to keep yourself engaged?
Yeah, so I do have an email marketing list, just to with my regulars. I'm on, Instagram as much as I can. I've even during the 2020, Facebook was just flooded with all types of craziness posts.
Right.
So I had to delete my Facebook and restart fresh. So now my Facebook is geared towards just networking.
Okay.
So I it's working for me. I've met people all around the world. It's been great. I've even had one person that I met through Canada. She's coming to Florida and she wants to meet me. This is great.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, so I'm not feeling bad for, deleting some things to elevate myself. So that's how I've been more engaged. That's how I've been able to network and to get some leads, and just being mindful of building a rapport with people, like a genuine, authentic communication with other people, like-minded people, even people who I don't have any interest in what they're going through or what they're talking about, but just to keep an open mind of what else is out there in the world. I feel like sometimes we're stuck in that area and we're not open-minded on other things. So
I agree. I mean, it definitely is important. And trying to cultivate what you're taking in so that you can, like you said, sometimes it gets kind of mired down in all the crazy, and just trying to make sure that you're engaging with people with real genuineness. I think a lot of people really are looking for that, I know this might be an unusual question, but I'm going to ask, with everything that you have experienced over your course of being a life coach and in business, are there any regrets? Do you have anything that you would regret?
Yeah, I wish when I first started, I wish I got more training in the beginning. Training on, business things, everything business, how to operate things the right way. I feel like just this past 2 years, I started doing that. Just to learn about business. That's one thing I do regret. I feel like if I did that from the beginning, I would have probably been in a whole nother level, if that makes sense. You're going into business doing it by yourself, but then I realized you can't really do it by yourself. So just to get that helping hand to understand how to operate business the right way.
Wow. That's really takes a lot of foresight, because I think a lot of times people don't, you don't think about that. You're just thinking about you're in it and you're doing okay and getting it done. But to your point, you might be struggling or overwhelmed because you didn't have those resources and connections. So I like the fact that, you're looking at it like that would probably be my only thing that I would change. And how are you? I know you said in the last 2 years, and obviously as a life coach, it's constantly being engaged with other entrepreneurs and other people. How do you keep your skills sharp, as you are going through?
Yeah, so I like to listen to podcasts of people who are doing what I love, books, new books that are out there, people who've done it. I feel like sometimes in life you feel like you know it all, but if you just get that good mentorship, even if it's people, they don't know you per se personally, but you're just looking at them, you're looking at their YouTube, you're looking at their blog posts or their books, just engaging with people who have done it, and not saying you want to do it the way they do it, but just to get some insight of, okay, they did it this way. How can I do it the way that can make it good for me? So that's what I would say when it comes to that.
No, and I think that's good, because I've talked about that before with everyone too. I think it is important that you connect and look out for different resources to help you be able to grow and learn. I mean, I think that's where it all is. No one is an expert at everything. And so you constantly have to feed yourself. And I think that's important for people to see their life coaches and mentors that they would probably work with. You're still feeding yourself. That means you're still learning, you're still growing and sharing. So I think that's very important. And I know you kind of mentioned that you had some things coming up. I mean, how can my audience support you? What activities or events that you have coming up that you can share with us?
Yeah. So this one big thing that's coming up in the fall, I can't really share it.
Okay.
If I do, I have some women that are just going to be like, what? But what I can say, we will be going live on IG TV. So you can find me like at Rebeccapjb on Instagram, and also at Youare.extraordinary on IG as well. But with the UR, there's a period in between U and R, extraordinary. And then also I will be posting some things coming up towards the end of September-ish on my website, Rebeccapjb.com. And that's actually in the works as well. I'm revamping that website. So if you do want to catch me, I am always on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook as well, but more for networking. But you can find me on Facebook at Rebecca Phanord JeanBaptiste. It's just my maiden name and my married name right now. So, yeah. So, but if you're really trying to catch me, Rebeccapjb on IG.
No worries. And I was going to say, I'm going to have everything in the show notes for everybody. So y'all, if you missed it, it's okay. I got you. All of her information will be in the show notes. And I just have one final question then for you, my dear. I love to ask it of all my guests. So what is one thing that you would want my audience to know about you that you have not already shared with us?
I am a DIYer. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I love it. I love to do DIYs. I am a HGTV fanatic. I haven't watched the show on HGTV, obviously, in maybe in 2 weeks, but I actually just DIY'd a table. I'm working on the chairs. I DIY'd my daughter's decks. I love to work with my hands. Yep. Okay. You would never think it. Yeah, I know. It's something completely opposite of what I'm talking about today. Yeah.
I so love that though. So hopefully you share some of that with us because, I'm not a DIYer person. Not at all. However, there are probably some people in the crew who love to do that. And, I get inspired by it, but then I'd be trying to find out how I can buy it. So let some people see what you do. Do you share that stuff too?
Actually, I do share that on my Rebeccapjb on IG. I share only a little bit. I'm not super on it. It's just a hobby. And that's one of the things that bring me joy, right? Remember we talked about that? Yes. And it's therapeutic as well. So
I love that. I used to like to make cocktails online. I don't drink as much anymore. So I used to do a video every once in a while to show it. So you have to share your talents. Hey, at least you're fixing something. I'm just trying to get you drunk. So, you got to share those talents with us. So I like it. I look forward to that. And then when you are ready to talk about your other event, you'll have to come back and share that with us.
Okay.
So
yeah,
we would love to support you. Yeah, we would love to support you. So thank you so much for joining us today and letting us find out how extraordinary you truly are. And like I said, I'll make sure all of her information is in the show notes. So that way you can follow and we can support your journey because we all are trying to live a well done, extraordinary life. So it's the perfect marriage.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Rebecca, thank you again for stopping by. It was such a pleasure to speak with you. I'm going to have all of Rebecca's information in the show notes. I will have her back as well when she gets to that point where she can talk about her big project. But again, we want to make sure that we are sharing information with you that's going to help you be able to balance out your busy life. We understand, believe me. We understand you guys have a lot going on, whether you're married or single, babies, no babies, adults, parents, whatever. We're all facing lots of challenges, but we also have lots of dreams. So really, I hope that you are able to take some tips this week that will give you some things to think about on how you can balance your life out, as well as be able to realize that, we're all out here just doing our best. So don't let anything stop you. There's enough resources out here if you can connect to the right people that can help show you the way and be able to achieve all the goals that you're trying to do. So I want to say thank you for listening and making it this far. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. I hope you have a great week next week. I'll be back next week. I have another wonderful guest that I am really excited about sharing with you. So take care of yourselves. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. And I'm sending you all the best hugs, prayers, best wishes going into next week. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.